everyone. My name is India Williams, and I'm one of the professional development educators here with PBIS Rewards.
And I am Anna Michaels. I'm also a professional development educator with PBIS Rewards, and we're so glad that you could join us today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Johnny Garza. I'm the Director of Student Services and Family Support, and I love the school that we are going to be talking about, so I'll let them introduce themselves also.
I'm Sophie Quinrizo. I'm the principal of Huron Elementary.
Everyone, my name is Norma Cruz, and I'm the Vice Principal at Huron Elementary School.
I am Sarah Pruitt. I am the academic/instructional technology coach at Huron Elementary. I've been here for a year and a half.
My name is Celia Cruz. I'm the school counselor. I've been here for 7 years with Huron Elementary School.
I would love to kind of see the outreach that you do for your parents. Sarah, do you want to share with us a little bit of that?
This is one of our workshops that we provided for our parents. Ms. Penrizo, what time did we do it? Was it like 6 or 7?
It was 6 or 6:30. Can you all see it?
Yeah, we started at 6:30 and didn't end till like 8. I remember it was a long day. It was
I think it was scheduled to be an hour long, and then it just ran later, and
our parents were like downloading it. They were able to download. That's what happened. Our parents were downloading it.
And
right.
when you talk about buy-in, this was we had over 60 some odd parents attend this workshop at 6:30 in the evening to whenever it ended. And so that was a really good turnout for us. And I know the ladies won't mention this, but Celia has been able to incorporate the zones of regulation, and we're following that up with another parent training. And again, it ties back to the PBIS app and all of that, all the other things that Celia and Sarah are doing, but they're not mentioning yet.
Yeah, and so one of the things, like I have always been about, like, I will meet you at your level. Whatever your tech level is, I will meet you there. And this is my 19th year in this district. So year and a half at this site, but 19th year. And I was at the secondary level. And now there are students at this site that were my students' children, or that are the children of people who were my students. Wow. And so, yeah. And, but I'm like, no, like, I've got this, like, we can meet them at their level. It's fine. Also, puedo hablar español bastante bien. No es perfecto, pero es más o menos.
Yes, I know, India, exactly what the parents do.
Right? Yeah. And so I'm like, you know, I was training over the summer, getting people prepared. I have helped people who've never had a cell phone be functional in Google Classroom, Zoom, you name it, all of this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's fine. And we start the school year and I'm going, you know, you click here, you click there, you click whatever. And Celia comes up to me and she's like, Sarah, I don't know why you keep saying click. My parents, they're not understanding this click here, click there, click wherever. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. And so, you know, we're putting together this parent workshop, and, you know, in the process, I had adjusted my frame of reference when I'm talking. But what I do is I take screenshots of the app, and then I clearly circle, like, points for expectation. This is where you click, but you see I have touch. So you touch that because they're all, for the most part, they're all using the iPads that the school has provided. And so it is all touch. And they have to touch here. They have to touch there. And then I had this slide in English also, but, you know, like, here's number 1. It corresponds right here. And they know how to follow along and figure out where everything is. Then, you know, we showed them the store, which is our Soaring Store. And do you want me to wait to get into the?
No, yeah, go ahead and tell us about your store. We would love to hear about it.
Okay.
You are doing phenomenal things with your store. Please share.
Yes.
Okay, so in my head, I was thinking, how's this store thing gonna work? Because it is all virtual. And they had decided that the students would come once a month. We'd start off there. They'd come in once a month to pick up their orders. And I know that there's the setting where you can turn it on so that they can access it at all times. And I thought, I like getting on Amazon. Sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, I can't sleep. I make no excuses for what shows up 2 days later. But I was like, these kids should be able to get in at any time. We don't know what their schedule's like at home. They should be able to shop anytime they want. And so we opened it up. You can shop anytime you want. And then we said, you have to have your order in by this day. And if you have your order in by this day, you can pick it up the following Monday. And I looked and I went, oh my goodness, we've got 200 kids that ordered things. There are 450 items that are ordered. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do that? So I used to be super scared of Excel in anything related to a spreadsheet. Super scared of it. Now I have embraced it wholeheartedly. And they are saying, can you just the CSV file, you and the CSV and the mail merge. And so what I did, and YouTube's a great help too, I YouTubed how to take the CSV file that had everyone's purchases, group it together all on one line for the student. So even if they had, one of the kids had purchased 12 things. And so I could create this label. I designed it, went on Adobe Spark, just real simple, threw some eagles on there, Huron Elementary. It populates the student name. It populates the date that they're picking it up, because they don't all make it in, then, and that way we can see how long it's been living in our area for pickup and how many items they need to have. We print the labels, we take the label, we put it on a 1-gallon Ziploc, and then we fill the orders. And when you go to fill the order, this is our PBIS is on Fulfillment Warehouse. And so this got together, I have to give it to my admin and Celia and aides and everyone else, because this is in our auditorium and it's a corner of it. And I would go when I had a few minutes in between Zooms and different things, and I'd be like, don't touch anything there. Don't touch it. I'm in the middle of something. Don't touch it. Sophie is a neat freak and she's always wanting to clean things. And she'd look and she'd be like, I'm backing away. She said, don't touch it. But what I did was I was like, we cannot, if we're looking for this squishy, which squishy is that? It needs to be tied to an item number. And I put the item number in the name of what it is so that I can pull it off easily. And I just go sequentially. So all of those bins are numerical. So if they know that, hey, here's item number 35 I need to pull, and it's got the title, or item 52, and it's an ABC Go Eagles pencil, they know right where it is. They don't have to look around and go, oh, where are the pencils? Am I getting the right one? And then fill them up in the Ziplocs. Those helmets, though, not so easy to get in a Ziploc. I'm just saying that added a whole new layer. But then we have these large bins, which what originally happened was all of the Ziplocs were kept in alphabetical order, grouped by teacher and grade. And they were like, oh, we'll just put them in the bins. And I was like, no, we got to do something. That's not going to work. It's going to go badly when it's fine for the filling, but when they start picking them up, this isn't going to work so well. And I was told I was overthinking things and to give it a shot. And I said, okay, I had to leave on time that day, so I left at 3. Some kids came in to pick stuff up, and when I came back in the morning, with the exception of the little tabs with the names on them, this is what I found. Because they said, yeah, we really need to do this better. And so we put the Ziplocs, grouped by teacher, grouped by grade, in the hanging file folder to kind of keep them all together. So when they come to pick them up, you know, the little kinder kid is saying, hi, I'm Julissa. Okay, whose class are you in? What grade are you in? And then we can gather it real quickly that way. But like I said, it was 200 students, 450 items, all in those 6 bins. And it was 2 hours to fill the orders.
Wow.
And in addition to that, you know, we're looking at coming back, but when we come back, it's not going to be the same that we had before. We're still going to have the restrictions. We still have all of the safety stuff. And we're not going to be able to go back to here's the small little room with the stuff. They're still going to need to be purchasing things on the app and doing it this way so that it's safe. And so with that in mind, that's how I designed it, just because, you know, what makes Amazon work? That was my main thing.
I mean, just, you know, now, are you all right now completely virtual? Do you have a hybrid model going on, or you're completely virtual, correct? Okay, and just to see how you all have just pivoted so hard and so successfully to make not just PBIS rewards, but just learning in general work for your students. That's phenomenal what you all are doing. And we're kind of getting close to the time to where we're going to be wrapping up today's spotlight. Yet we wanted to just give you all an opportunity to maybe share what are some of your favorite features of PBIS rewards, maybe some favorite hacks you figured out, and then also any closing advice that you have for other schools that are already using PBIS rewards or thinking about using it. Any closing advice that you have to those schools, maybe particularly those that are in a similar circumstance as you all, having to do learning in a virtual environment?
So I'll just start on my 2 favorite features right now, because that's what we've been working on, is our raffles. So we've been able to incorporate the whole family as a whole, and also our SEL checks. And as you know, Anna and India, I'm still working in that area, but I have been using it to the fullest, and it's been really amazing. That is my favorite one. It did integrate the zones of regulation with it. So we presented that to our students, our teachers, full buy-in, and now we're working on presentation for our parents. And Ms. Penrizo has a story actually about our SEL and why it's one of my favorites. So I'll let her share next what are her favorite features or hacks of the PBIS rewards.
Well, yes, thank you, Miss Celia. So I get the unique, I am both a parent and an administrator. So my children come to school here. So Celia, as an administrator, you kind of delegate. I'm like, you run with it, Celia, you run with it, Sarah, you let me know what is it that you need me to do on my end. And so, Celia was telling me, well, we're going to incorporate the zones of regulations and we're going to have the kids check in. And we're like, okay, that's great, right? We're having the kids check in every day. We're following up if they're identifying, if they're on red. Perfect. The other day, Celia comes into my office. She goes, I'm just letting you know, your son is on red right now. And so she's like, as a counselor, I'm coming to you to let you know that your son is now on red. And I was like, oh, okay. And as a parent, now I'm seeing on the back end, as a parent to be notified, it was, I was like, oh, well, he's at home with his father. Let me check. Called dad. Dad kind of explained to me why he was upset. He was upset because he had to clean up after the dog. And so he was upset, and Celia was like, I just want to let you know, just validate his feelings. And I really, it's funny, but then it's funny, but it was nice to know that kids are using this, and yes, we have a response. My counselor and Sarah are getting alerted. Parents are being notified. I was notified as both the admin as well as the parent, right? And it gave me an opportunity to sit there and talk to my son and go, okay, how, why did this upset you? Because in the world that we're in now, it's not necessarily the task that he didn't do. There are other things that are triggering it. Maybe it's the stress of being in a virtual, being at home, right? And not being able to socialize with your kids and socialize with your classmates. So I can attest as an administrator and as a parent that we are fully incorporating our zones of regulations, and the kids are really utilizing it. So, Celia, she'll come and say, hey, I got kids in this class. How do I respond? And it goes back to the whole idea of communicating. She's communicating to me as a staff member, but we're also communicating with our parents. And that's why what I had alluded to earlier is that we're going to have training for parents about how do you respond when your kid is identifying that I'm in a red or I'm in a blue, yellow zone or whatever, what zone they're indicating. How do you, our next step is to inform the parents and give them some tools as to how to, talk it out with their kids. Like Celia told me, coming to you as a counselor, he's my student. You need to help him validate his feelings. Don't, minimize what he's feeling, and so on and so forth. It was good to hear, as she's coming to me as a parent, like, okay, yes, that shouldn't be read, but it is read to him, and I need to validate that. So that's my story on our zones of regulation, and it's working. Yeah. The kids they're knowing exactly what zone they're in. Or my son was telling me, I'm in a red, but I'm not ready to talk about this right now. I'll let you know when I'm ready. So I'm like, thank you, Celia. Because she's also giving them lessons on our Mondays with their session with the counselor. So she's teaching the kids, she's teaching the parents, she's teaching the staff. And so I think it attests to the work that Celia and Sarah are doing, because Celia is doing that, but Sarah is the one in the background making it happen on the technology end.
And our teachers love it. I have to say our teachers they actually appreciate it, because when we had tested it out at first, we opened it and I had like 100 and something kids on the red zone, because they didn't know, we didn't train them. We were just trying to see what happened when this feature popped up. And so I had talked to Norma, and I'm like, Norma, Miss Cruz, I said, I'm gonna shut this down because I'm in the red zone right now. I don't know, I'm overwhelmed. And so she's like, it's okay, we haven't trained the teachers, we haven't trained. So when that happened, I was making like phone calls to 10 kids a day. So I said, no, I need to stop. We need to stop it. And because you could stop it, actually, I don't know if people, I didn't know you can do that, but we could deactivate it. And then when we trained our teachers, we trained our kids, we were going to train our parents. But it's funny, because why is it my favorite SEL? Because when I call parents and I say, I'm calling to let you know, I don't know if you know the PBIS. Oh, yes, I know where they get their points. I'm like, yes. I said, okay, well, there's another application that allows the kids to tell us how they're feeling. And so parents are like, oh, maestra, I'm glad he asked for help. I'm glad he's talking about it. I'm glad the teacher knows. And I said, yes, the teacher's aware of it. And so I'm going back and forth now, but the teachers love it because they're able to see what their kid checked in on their SEL check-in, and they're able to have a privately follow up with the kid. So when I get the red zones alerts, because we consider those high alerts, I'll email the teacher and say, hey, can you talk to this kid? Let me know if I need to follow up with a continuing email, with a continuing follow up or a home visit. And that has happened already a couple of times. And they've been legitimately where I've had to refer the kids to mental health or to other agencies and kind of look a little bit further into things. And so, or talk to the kids themselves. So the teachers love it. We're having a one-on-one conferences. I told Ms. Benriso today I had a student check in and read, and I popped into the late session, and his father's being forced to leave the country. And so that's very hard, and there's nothing he can do about it. And it breaks my heart. And he was like, I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. And I'm like, no, you're not okay. And we understand. And I'm sorry that we can't hug you or any, but you know, just know that it was amazing for him, for his culture, to be able to push that button and know that if I push that button, it means I need to talk to somebody, or I need someone to tell me that it's okay to be angry or upset, or I want to cry. So that is why it's my favorite. There's a communication with the teachers. Our admin is involved. Sarah's in the background. Hey, did you get this alert? Or, you know, you gotta go, yes, I got it. I'll follow up. And, you know, it's a backup person. In case I'm not available, then Sarah can follow up, because we do want to make sure that those red zones are being taken care of. And so that's why it's amazing. The SEL checks, it's amazing. I love it. It holds me accountable. You know, the communication is there with the teachers. The parents know that it's where the points are at. And so once we get the workshop with the parents, I'm sure they're gonna know, you know, exactly what we're talking about. But it's amazing that parents already know, like, oh, sí, los puntos. And I'm like, yep, right there. That's where they're telling me that they're sad or that they're tired or, you know, something's going on. So it's amazing that they know that it's what the PBIS, however they want to do it, however they want to call it, but they know that we're using PBIS rewards.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I've only been out of the classroom for a year and a half when I took this position here. And I know as a teacher, sometimes life gets away from you and it takes a little bit before you can get to the grading. And part of my role here now is, you know, I go in and I go into classrooms, you know, the Zooms, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you as a teacher facilitate rolling out XYZ with the kids. And so I went in there. This was in between when the SEL came out. It was out, then we had turned it off. And before we turned it back on, I was in a classroom and I was like, okay, kids, I'm going to teach you how to use this. And it had a video component to it. And so they were recording their, you know, introduction, whatever it was. And I didn't get to it until the next day to look at them, because, you know, it was like my 5th time doing that one. I'm like, okay, I had an idea of what I was going to see. And one of the students was breaking down because his mom was extremely ill with COVID. And he had COVID. And his whole family had COVID. And it broke my heart that I had waited a day to look at that. And I know, you know, at the high school level, when kids do their, you know, their journals, sometimes it takes a while, and then you see something and it breaks your heart that you didn't get to that sooner. And, you know, I saw that immediately, went to Celia, you know, I just sent you this, sent the links to Norma and Sophie. We've got a situation, needs looked after. And the PBIS SEL self-check gives those kids a voice where there's an immediate response. You don't have to wait until the teacher pulls that paper out of the bag or goes onto that website to look at the videos. It's immediately right there. So we can get whatever support we can for those kids. I think that's, you know, I know that's Celia's favorite feature. I know we're looking forward to doing the check-in, check-out. Okay, so my other favorite feature is this, for anybody listening: dive into the reports. Dive into the reports, see how they can work for you. Because we had, you know, I have a student, Demo, that's their name. Demo, go in there, I adjust the points, I buy the kids stuff, and then I look at how I was looking at how the reports populated, and then what I could do with the reports, and exactly how I had to type things in to work with what I could figure out how to use in Excel to create the labels and do everything like that. That's my favorite feature. My favorite hack is this. if you can't figure something out, go to the PBIS help. Go to the training, go to the help. When you go to the help, you get the chat bot, but guess what? You click on that other little thing and you get a person. And if it's after hours, it's fine. Ask your question, leave it sit there. It can be 2 o'clock in the morning, been there, done that. 2 o'clock in the morning, you leave the question sitting there and it says, okay, we will open up a case for that. And then you get a response the next day. And then you get a follow-up that says, hey, did this issue get resolved? And show up to the trainings, because Anna, India, both of you, Kara, Andy, everybody, like you all, this is the only app, and trust me, I've learned like practically all of them in the last year since we went on pandemic. No joke. You are the only app that listens. Others may, but it's not apparent. You listen to us, you hear us, I explain why, and you go, oh, we see that. And so, you know, for those of you who are out there, if you see something, look at the report, see how you need to run it for your school. And if it's not working, get a hold of them. But I'm going to tell you right now, something that may look like simple, not necessarily on the back end, but be nice to Andy is all I got to say.
Absolutely. Sarah knows. And so we do want to give everybody else also an opportunity to share anything else you want, just, you know, parting advice about PBIS rewards or just about teaching in a virtual environment, any last minute advice you'd like to give or share your favorite feature. But Sarah is right. Be nice to Andy. Andy is actually a part of our product engagement team, helps with a lot of development. He's also trains from time to time. Sarah's absolutely right. Ann and I both know, be nice to Andy. Anybody else, Mr. Garza?
I just wanted to circle back to, you know, the social emotional, for those of you thinking out there thinking about it, this is a really good part of it. And, you know, not only for our kids, but I think that we worry about our own staff, because if you could tell the stories that they're telling you now, you know, we check on them also just to make sure that they're okay. Because, you know, if you know that, like, you know, Sarah's saying it took her a day to answer that email, well, we want to make sure she's okay, you know, that she doesn't feel bad for doing that too. So I just think for those of you out there, make sure that, you know, you're supporting your kids, but you're also supporting your staff in this. And great communication is how that works.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Cruz, did you want to share anything?
The same, I piggyback on everyone. The same, the SEL component is really, I think it's one of my favorites too. Like, and like everybody was saying, we keep working as a team, and we'll keep doing keeping our communication and our collaboration for everything to work out.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely heard a theme that works at your school, which is community, communication, and collaboration. So you definitely, as the school that we've highlighted today, been able to remind us of the importance of those three things, whether you're talking about PBIS rewards or just teaching or life in general: communication, community, and collaboration. So we just want to thank you all so much for just taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us today, to share some of your success as far as PBIS rewards is concerned. And we just want to thank you again for all of the hard work that you're doing and for sharing your journey with us. Anything else, Anna, before we wrap up today's interview?
No, that's perfect. Thank you all so much. Fantastic example. And I know other schools are going to learn from you and just soar on to success. So thank you so much, everyone, from Huron Elementary.